Fantastic. Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. My name is Julian. My channel is normally all about making you crypto fit. So we talk about blockchain, cryptocurrencies, decentralization, Bitcoin, and all the other great things. Today, this is not a crypto video. So if you normally want to watch only crypto on this channel, skip today's video unless you want to have the more important things in life, which is, well, keeping this stuff clean here, having a really sharp mind, working on your mindset, having all those personal development is always more important. The best investment is, not in money. The best investment is in yourself. So that's what I want to talk today about. We don't do these videos much. I think one out of 6-7 videos is around non-crypto things. And I want to put these in every once in a while because I feel it is important. And what we do today, if you know, I read around 52 books every year. I've done this now for over 10 years. This has been my road all the way from when I dropped out of medicine. Not really dropped out. I finished medicine. I dropped out being a medical doctor. I worked in a hospital, quit, didn't want to do it anymore, and had to work on myself. And it's been a crazy ride. And so since then, I've been reading over 500 books, and I cover those in regular blog posts or in regular posts. And so I'm a bit behind this year because it's been really crazy the past couple of weeks. There's my new company, Cake, so much happening, and so I was really busy. But I'm quite good on time. I should be getting to my 52 books. I always get there. So what I want to show you, I want to talk a bit about the best books that I've read so far. I think that are totally worth reading. So let's dive right in and let's go straight into this blog post. It's on LinkedIn. I'll link it up below so you can have it. Here's the chat as well. So this is my LinkedIn. You just go to linkedin.com/Julian Hosp, and then here's the blog post. So you can see this here. Got quite a lot of views, a lot of likes, of course. So I started this year with reading The Grand Design by Stephen Hawking. Now, if you are someone who is not much in, let me move this maybe a bit over so that the camera here doesn't block the thing. So if you are like in science, if you like science like me, I think it's a good read, but it's very simple. So I'm not sure if this would be the read if you're really strong in science already. Then you have a book from Alibaba, check him out. That was a good read. I really like this. So that is something I can highly recommend, obviously, especially if you are into entrepreneurship and you just care about how business is done in China. I think that was a really good read. Just also maybe as a side note, I read around 1/3 of the books and I listen to 2/3 of them on Audible. Bad Blood, that was the best book of the entire year so far. It reminded me of so many crypto companies, so many companies that I know that, very exactly this thing is happening, how it's in there. And it's a really crazy story. So this is a must read. Seriously, must read. 5 out of 5 stars. So 5 out of 5 stars are books that I believe are must reads. They're not maybes, they are must reads. 4 to 5s means they're great, but they're personal preference. 3 out of 5s are like, yeah, sure. 2 out of 5s is okay. 1 out of 5s, man, can't handle it, right? And sometimes I give a 2 out of 5 where I couldn't handle it, but I think, hey, it's maybe personal preference. Oprah, 2 out of 5, yeah, sure. What I know for sure, it wasn't okay. I wouldn't have read it again. Waking Up, Sam Harris. I really like Sam Harris. So I'm an atheist. So there's so much stuff that resonates with me here, and there were so many good things in there. For example, how many people claim to have religious experiences because it makes them feel special and they get connection and they get love from people. And so there was so much good stuff in there. If you are deeply religious, this book is just going to piss you off, right? So you're probably not going to like it. So that's why I give it a 4 out of 5, because I do see both sides, right? So I do see that someone who might be very religious is going to get just pissed off with this book. But other than that, it was a fantastic read. Super Intelligence, all about AI. Personally, I really thought great book. Obviously, very futuristic, so it might not be that relevant for everyone, but that's why I didn't give it a 5 out of 5. A Boohoo, great book on the .com bubble. So obviously you need to also understand a bit on what my story was here, right? So here, this was basically beginning of the year. I was just kind of kicked out of my old company. So, well, there's a lot of stories in there that I just had to process and a lot of things. And so Boohoo was about this company who had raised all this kind of money. And well, because the CEO was incapable, this company crashed in the dot-com times. And so, yeah, you need to understand a bit the story here. I think it's not as good as Bad Blood, but it's also worth reading. Bullet journal, interesting concepts if you like time management stuff. I actually read that book more for my own book reading, the Time Horizon Principle. And I just wanted to get a bit in, like, what do other books write about and how do they structure certain things, so that I don't just, I don't want to copy that, I really want to add value. Then I really started getting into coding again, and so I wanted to do the self-taught programmer. That's okay. Also the Complete Software's Developer's Guide. Both of these books are okay. I think maybe you know, and this would be very interesting, maybe you know of a book that's like the perfect developer programmer book for non-developers. So maybe not for myself. I would see myself a little bit of a developer, but like I have so many people who come to me and are like, hey Julian, I'm not technical, I don't know how to code. Could you give me one book where to start? And I haven't found much. So it would be interesting if you have a really good book that you feel that's like this great kind of introduction. Similar how cryptocurrencies explained simple for myself, for like non-crypto people is a good entry. Maybe you have something like this for coding. Would be interesting. Leave it for me in the comments below. Then I read .con, very similar to all the others here, about a lot of scams that happened during the .com phases and what to learn, what to see. So that was very interesting. 4 to 5, because I think some really great stories in there. Clean architecture, that was better. So I think anyone, that's that is in tech and is building and is working in companies that are technical, I think you should read that. That's why it's only a 4 to 5. You could probably also give it a 3 out of 5, but I felt that was a really good book. Quite deep already and quite structured, so it's an intense read. And then that actually, AI Superpowers, came out of Superintelligence, because it was kind of suggested to me on Audible, and so that's why I read that. And yeah, so that was I thought both were really, really good. Then as you know, well, I was really, really in. I love sports, right? And so Tom Brady, probably the GOAT in American football. The Patriots won the Super Bowl, and I was it happened in February, but yeah, I was I read a lot during this time. Didn't have much to do, and so I was like, okay, let me read up a bit. And he doesn't have a biography, but I read the TB12 Method. Honestly, it's probably not a book that I would recommend. There's definitely better books in my opinion. Einstein's Dreams. It's a bit of a story on how Einstein was kind of dreaming or kind of talking about certain things of time and stuff. I don't know, I found it a bit weird. Not a book that I would probably recommend, or I feel that a lot of people would get value out of. Even though I know I've met someone who says, hey, that's an interesting book, but yeah, was not that interesting to me. The other book that I think is a must-read is Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. And now Robert Greene has some really fantastic reads. 48 Laws of Power, the 49th Law, the Laws of Human Nature. I mean, these are really, 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 really must-reads. So the two must-reads so far, Bad Blood and the Laws of Human Nature, I'm not kidding, like must-reads. There's no way around it. The Courage to be Disliked, that was actually the inspiration to write my own book, A Time Horizon Principle, in a dialogue format, because I really liked how it was written there. Initially, my Time Horizon Principle book was not planned to be written in a dialogue. I only did it because I really liked the flow here, and I got some really, really nice feedback from that. So I felt that was really, really good. Then Momo from Mikhail Ende, I gave it a 5.5, 5 out of 5. I've read these books like way before. I just wanted to read it again because it was like right at the end of the Time Horizon Principle, and I just wanted to be inspired a bit on the focus on time. I feel this is such a good book because like I could just read and read and read and just couldn't stop, even though I kind of knew the story. But it is so powerful to see this little girl kind of walking, and I included actually an entire quote in the Time Horizon Principle. Because the poem basically that Master Hora asks Momo about the past, the present, and the future. Great book. I feel like you need to reread this. I feel this is such an amazing book. So yeah. And then I was a bit fed up with, and then I had finished Time Horizon Principle by that time. And I was a bit fed up with reading too much nonfiction, and so I wanted to get a bit more into fiction, so I had Momo. And then I wanted to do some science fiction, and I read Dennis E. Taylor's We Are Legion. But seriously, I really didn't like it as much. So I couldn't understand why people had that many great recommendations. I could probably give it a 3 out of 5. I didn't like it. Now, you could tell me that this is one of the most amazing books ever, maybe. I didn't like it that much. So yeah, that was a bit of my thing here. And then I said, okay, you know what? I need to read a really good science fiction book. And so I did Douglas Adams' Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. 5 out of 5. Golly, you need to read this. I think it's hilarious, right? Yeah, I think it's great. And yeah, it's just funny. And one of the most important quotes out of this book is, it's not about the answer, it's about the question. Right, and if you read the book, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not about the answer; it's about the question, and I completely agree with this in life. So that was really, really powerful. Then I kind of did a bit of a rerun of some Michael Ende books. They're just really, really famous. Then at the end, it's not on there, but it's part of the second group. I read The Never-Ending Story. I mean, just a famous children's author in Germany, and I was going a bit through a rough patch, and then I was like, you know what, I need to kind of repace myself and get back into this really good mood. I didn't like this one so much, Jim Knopf on this train. I don't know, I was a bit, yeah, I didn't like it that much anymore. I really liked Momo and The Never-Ending Story. It was cool. And then number 22 was Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. Such good recommendations, and I really couldn't handle it. Like, it was so superficial. I don't know. I was really struggling with that book. Maybe it was during a wrong time that I was reading it. Maybe my mindset was wrong, but I was just really struggling. Yeah, so that was just kind of the mindset here. Then Blitzscaling by Reid Hoffman. For those that don't know Reid Hoffman, he is one of the early founders of LinkedIn. Well, an early investor in Blockstream. So I think some really, really interesting things here. And he has this concept of blitzscaling. I think great concept. Enjoyed reading it. It's not a 5 out of 5, but definitely a 4 out of 5. And then obviously my company started Cake, and so I was really more into understanding a bit business again. I wanted to learn from some people who were really misunderstood during that time and went through some hardship. So Martin Luther King, man, that's a 5 out of 5. And with this, I mean a must 5 out of 5. I still remember I was in Bali during this time when I listened to it, and there were so many times I was just sitting there and I was getting a massage and I was lying there and I was just listening to this, and I'm like, holy crap, like I cannot believe, right, that a human being is able to endure this mental and psychological pressure, and wow, this was just crazy. And then one of my superheroes in life, Leonardo da Vinci. I'm such a big fan of his. Like, he's 200 years. Like, with him, like, he's a genius. But he would have been number one in everything had he probably lived 150 years later. And the reason is because he was so early on everything, and the right idea at the wrong time can be the wrong idea. And for him, I mean, oh my goodness, like all the ideas he had. He would have not been known as one of the best artists in the world. He would have probably been like the best genius ever. Great book. I mean, also then you'll see Einstein's biography by Walter Isaacson. Hey, must reads. So yeah, really, 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 really fantastic. So these are these 26 books. So the 5 out of 5s, if you want to call it, is those two, the two biographies, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Laws of Human Nature, Momo, where maybe Momo you could put